Good morning. The United States is running out of interceptor missiles, which are used to shoot down other missiles. This is impacting our military's ability to continue support for the ongoing wars in the Middle East and in Ukraine and any others which might come up. The problem is most acute in the Middle East, where over 100 standard interceptors were launched since last October. So protecting land-based targets in Israel and Western shipping in the Red Sea are bleeding our missile arsenals dry. The demand has been high and unexpected, and the Pentagon is worried that we might run through inventories faster than they can be replenished. The United States no longer has an industrial base intended for large wars of attrition in even one theater, let alone in two, and we've got two. Both the wars, the one in the Ukraine and the other in Israel, are extended conflicts and not part of the U.S. defense planning. Okay, I've heard this story before many times, and we've gotten involved in another war that we thought would be quick, in and out, and cheap. Israel and Gaza kicked off last October. It's only a year old, which isn't that long at all as far as wars go. And it's not long at all for Middle East wars, which seem to go on forever. Anyway, someone decided that the United States was going to shoot down all the missiles and drones flying over Palestine and the Red Sea, and now we don't have any missiles left. The Pentagon has a problem in building out arsenals anyway, because companies don't want to make the upfront investments unless they have long-term supply guarantees. The Navy Secretary is pushing companies to build more because we've used up so many of them, but he acknowledges the problems of increasing production. So now war planners are looking at alternatives and maybe smaller companies. RTX is the builder of most of the standard missiles, and their production max is a few hundred per year, whereas in any month in the Middle East, we're launching dozens of them. A dozen is 12, so let's call that 24 a month, probably more, and so we can do the math and see the problem. And here are two more problems. RTX also builds these interceptor missiles for at least 14 allies. So 15 countries already have orders in. That's problem one. The second is here and involves ship defenses and countermeasures used by the U.S. Navy. The Navy frequently fires 2 interceptor missiles to engage a single target just to make sure. Each missile costs millions of dollars times 2. And the Iranian-built weapons cost a fraction of that. And so we can do the math on that too and realize that the U.S. Navy is going to run out of money before the Houthis do. Here's a guy in Congress. The U.S. Congress is full of people who just love spending money. Cost is never a consideration at all. And even they figured out that this is a bad deal. This is a really expensive way to shoot down cheap targets, he says. The missiles cost a fortune and a lot of time to replace them. If someone in D.C. is saying that, you can imagine how these stories sound to a normal taxpayer who wonders why there's no money to fix the potholes on a street. So we've got a big shortage of these missiles, and our Navy Secretary is calling everyone with a factory to see where we can get some more. And things just got a lot worse with this news from China that they are going to place strict export curbs on the materials we need to build the missiles. This new focus will be on dual-use technologies, which have both civilian and military applications. The raw materials, including tungsten, graphite, magnesium, and aluminum, and the rules take effect on 1 December. For the tungsten, China controls more than 80% of the mining and the processing, and on the magnesium, it's 90%. These metals especially are critical for the manufacture of aircraft, spacecraft, and missiles. Here is a report from Stanford, and they list the top 6 strategic metals used across defense sectors. Magnesium ranks number 1, an essential structural material for spacecraft, military aircraft, and missiles. Tungsten is number 2, widely used in defense and aerospace. Titanium is a big problem too, because most of that comes from Russia, and if they decide to shut off the flow of titanium, our companies can't make landing gear for our planes, among a lot of other components in aerospace. This analysis shows why magnesium in particular is so important. It's lightweight, so it can go longer ranges, high strength to weight ratios. It's very reliable in extreme conditions, so it's ideal for military aircraft and missiles. Supply chains are everything. Interceptor missiles do not merely come from factories. First, the factories need to find raw materials to build them. And so before that, the raw materials need to be pulled out of the ground, then the ores need to be separated, then they need to be refined and then sent to the factories. And it's not just the problem of having no factories. We don't have the mines or the refineries either. China's got all those. And beginning on 1 December, there's no more magnesium or tungsten on the way to build our missiles. This is Qizhou, ancient town in Dali, Yunnan. Be good.
All your mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. Pray for those who hurt you. Love your enemies. Do unto others as you want others to do for you. Store up